we talked about trust, and your people have to trust you, and you have to trust that they're giving you the right information and all of that. And one anecdote that I use to teach this is the famous when Alan Mulally took over Ford. And on their executive teams, I'm sure you know what I'm about to say, they had like a red, yellow, green reporting system. And when he got there, the company had lost billions of dollars a year prior. And for the first few executive team meetings, it's all green.
Yeah.
And so he got up, and you know what he did? He got up. I'm saying this for the audience. He got up and said, look, we're losing. You know, we're essentially getting our ass kicked in the market, but you guys are all green. It can't be right. Tell me the truth. And they all sat there paralyzed. The next meeting, I think it was his South America guy came in and had a yellow light. And everybody was like, oh, gasped. Like, how's he going to react? And Mulally stood up and started clapping and said, thank you. Thank you for being honest. Now, what's your problem? He said, well, we're having problems getting a part. So that part, we're having trouble with the transmissions or whatever, and it's slowing the assembly line down. And he said, he looked over to the supply guy and said, can you fix that, Fred? He said, yes, it'll be fixed by the end of the week. And he said, see, and so the next meeting, as you know, there were red lights, green lights, yellow lights. He just wanted the truth. And so I'm going to let you talk about it, because I find this a big deal, especially in sales organizations where, well, the numbers aren't where they're supposed to be, but I'll make them up by next week. So I'm essentially going to submit a false report to my boss, and I'm sure that you've received a few of those over your time. So the topic is, how does a leader, first of all, I say a leader must foster a culture where there's truth in reporting. And secondly, how does a leader do that, Steve?
Well, I couldn't agree more, Mike. And this goes back to the point I made when we talked about effective leaders, about establishing an environment where people can tell each other the truth. Because again, I go back to, IBM at the time, the most respected company in the world. But I used to joke that if the building ever caught on fire, everybody would burn to death at their desk, because it would be negative to admit that the building was on fire.
Yeah.
And so you're absolutely right. There's no niche in business today that isn't extraordinarily competitive, and not having accurate information of what's going on is the ultimate competitive disadvantage. So what you're saying is super true. I think that the leader has to do a couple things. One, everybody says, oh, bring me the truth, speak truth to power, tell me what's, oh, I've never met a senior executive who didn't say that. But then, of course, the first time somebody does it, they rip their head off in a meeting.
Yeah.
I used to work for a guy who loved to talk stories about how he told truth to power. But when people did it to him, he'd get really pissed off.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing is you got to make it safe for people to tell you the truth.
Right.
And then the second thing is you got to do something with the information. Because if you make it safe, but nothing happens, like in your Mulally example, the guy brought the problem in, Mulally, said, good. But then he took action. Hey, Fred, fix it. And so it solved the problem.
Yes.
So people are going to speak up when they know it's safe to speak up.